Welcome to the day that is number 7 on the Advent calendar.
That's apparently an elf laugh.
That is so not an elf laugh. I don't believe them at all. That's really
we think it's gremlins.
Like gremlins or a murderous child on a bender. Yeah, it's day 7 of the Crafty Boys Advent Adventure for the Alpine Adventure.
It's Friday.
It is Friday.
I'm expecting something big.
Well,
we talked about this. Do they, when they make these adventure packs, these advent, do they consider, okay, day 7 is going to be a Friday, so let's put in something that's a little bit, Friday friendly,
It's true. Do you really think, though, that they're going to put that much thought into it? I hope they do. Like we were talking about the other day with like the whole mixtape idea.
Yeah.
But do you think that, are we going to be disappointed?
I hope not.
All right. Let's
find out.
We pulled them out. And today is the Red Racer T-Bar Winter.
No, White Ale.
White Ale. Sorry, I can't read.
Now is T-Bar as in like tea as in like, drinking a sport of tea?
Now, if you read the side, you'll actually see that it is apparently a beer that is made with fruit. Like it's a wheat ale, but it has orange, coriander, spices, and fruit tea blends, it says.
Interesting.
And it smells, actually, you know what it smells like? It kind of smells. It kind of smells and tastes like I want to say like no, it's not. It's got too much fruity flavor to it. Have you tasted it?
No, I haven't. I haven't even poured it.
Oh, well, pour away. And I'll wait for you to be done.
All right. All right. So there we go. I've got a fairly nice looking head on it.
I've got an okay head, but I'm more interested in the color. The color is very, very interesting. But the nose is happy here. It's got like a Now it says, take it easy, stepping up to the Bunny Hill. T-Bar is an easygoing flavor infusion on the classic wheat ale. Fruit tea blends with orange peel and coriander, creating a smooth and spicy wheat ale. Now, 2 days ago, we had a spicy beer, all right, which was almost unmanageable. You couldn't drink it without wanting to either cry or get naked. So,
well, I don't know if it was that bad, but
I gotta say, I mean, I like the art. We've got, of course, the Red Racer girl. Does she have a name? Have we talked about this already?
Yeah, I think her name is Betty.
Is it Betty? Okay, because
I like her.
Yeah, well, there's the. Oh, sorry, I was looking for the Sasquatch. She's right there in the middle.
Yeah,
the Sasquatch, of course, is going up the hill. On the
Betty has a great personality. I bet.
Have you ever been? Have you ever? Actually, let me ask. Have you ever gone skiing?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and
I'm absolutely horrible at it, but
okay,
yes, I have.
So let me tell you a very quick story about my the last time I went skiing, which was probably a good 10 years ago, at least. I was in Manitoba. Now, I was visiting people in Saskatchewan for Christmas, and they said, hey, let's go skiing tomorrow. And we said, sure. And I said, I'm not a great skier. I kind of suck, actually. And so we drove for quite some time to get to Manitoba because, of course, being on the prairies, the only places you can really go skiing are in essentially ditches, very large ditches like valleys and things. So this one place that we went called Assisipi. So we went there. It was called I kid you not, it's called Assisipi. So anyway, we get there and it's the hills are not.
Assisipi says what?
Right on. The hills are not, it's sizable. It's not like a small little bump on the prairie. It's actually quite significant. So I was not very good. I rented some skis and we, went on a few little bunny hill runs. The reason that this made me think of it is because they had a T-bar and I actually used the T-bar. But the big thing was that Allison's brother said, "Hey Shane, let's go on the Black Diamond." And I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. That's not really a thing I should do. And he goes, "Dude, we're on like the prairies. How bad could a Black Diamond be as compared to in BC?" And I thought, okay, that logic to my mind checks out. I was an idiot, but I said, sure, why the hell not? So we went up the chairlift to the top of this hill, and we went down. And of course, Black Diamonds are fairly, they're fairly steep. Maybe just less than, maybe 40 degrees, something like that. And so we start going down, and I'm thinking in my mind, oh yeah, this is actually not too bad because it's steep, but it's a straight run. It's not like there's jumps or things in the way. There's no flipping trees there. So yeah, I'll go down and it'll be fine. No, I made it about probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 meters down the hill, and I like one ski went this way, this ski went that way, and I started to fall, and I thought, screw it, I'm just gonna bail, and I'm gonna go the rest of the way on my back, like a sled almost. So he's laughing his ass off at me bailing right away. So I threw my poles and my skis flew off, and I think I threw my tuka, and I threw some other stuff off me as well. Which the best part is that he had to stop on the way down to pick up my crap, which was very nice of him. I didn't know he was going to do that, but it made me happy that I had bailed. So yeah, I gotta say, even in Manitoba, the ski hills are still quite formidable. So here's to skiing and T-bars. And I've been talking and I haven't been trying the beer. What do you think so far?
I'm really liking it. And after you tell me what you think of it, I'm going to tell you a skiing story that I have.
Okay, this reminds me of, there's a place in town about I don't know, 4 or 5 blocks from here, called Faculty Brewing. And a few years ago, I got a knock on my door, and my neighbors were there. There was a few of them standing there going, "Hey, do you guys want to go on a miniature beer crawl?" Which meant that we went to, I think, 3 different breweries around the area. So we started at Faculty, and they had this amazing beer, which I still remember to this day. It was a London Fog ale, like a London Fog something. Yep. And it was amazing. I had, I think, 3 pints of it while we were there, which on one level is not terrible. On the do you want to function as a human being and actually walk down a street kind of way, not smart. So, but I've never forgotten it. That was probably one of the nicest tea-based beers that I've had in a while. So it actually tasted like the tea I'm familiar with, the London Fog, which is Earl Grey and steam milk and stuff like that. But this beer, oh my God, man, holy cow. And I got to say, this is giving me shades of that experience because...
Oh, really? Okay.
The beer, well, not in the same flavor. I'm just saying that the actual, it tastes like beer, but the tea experience of the beer is not so overpowering as to hide the fact that it is beer.
And see, and that happens so much with tea-based beers, where the tea flavoring just kind of overpowers it. And I'm kind of thinking like, and some people really like it. I'm not a big fan, but Salt Spring Island Brewing makes an Earl Grey beer, and I'm not a big fan of it. I've tried it before. Some people really like it. So, yeah.
I give it a thumbs up. I can't say I don't know. Have they actually made? Has Red Racer made any tea based beers before?
Not that
Like,
I'm aware of.
so I gotta
None that
say,
come to
this is
mind.
actually good enough that I think something like this, if not this, should be probably a regular staple, because I think that the flavors that you get out of tea based things are slightly different than beer. Sorry, than beer, than fruit based ones.
Right.
So you get kind of that different, just because in theory it is a tea, so you're going to get some of that sort of black tea kind of flavoring and stuff like that. So
It's really good.
let's hear your skiing story.
All right. So I was on a ski trip with some friends, and actually one of somebody that you went to school with, Sean Henry.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. So we were going down a hill together. This was at Mount Washington, and I bailed bad. It wasn't even on like a really like treacherous run or anything. It was on like the red chair, which is sort of like one step up from the bunny hill.
Right.
And yeah, I bailed hard and I went down all the way. In fact, I went past a teacher with a class that was teaching people how to ski and everything, and I kind of like landed right almost at their feet. And he looks down at me and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he's like, he looks to his class and goes, "That's how not to ski." So anyway, I lost all my stuff, like my poles, my skis, everything are up at the top of the hill. And Sean is with me down there. And it's not before long. Some like, I don't know how old she was, like maybe 16 or something like that. This girl comes down the hill with all my stuff. She's skiing like a pro. I'm in my like early 20s at this point. And she gives me all my stuff. I was like, "Oh, hey, thank you." And she just kind of like bats her eyelashes at me and laughs and giggles a bit and stuff. And I'm like, "Thank you." And she still just kind of bats her eyelashes at me. Thanks.
Those are the days.
I don't know if she was laughing at me or if she was.
Yeah, she was. I mean, this is the thing, is that everyone. I mean, here's the thing: the only other times I've ever gone skiing was actually, I think it was actually only one time. I think I've been skiing more than that, but I'm not very good at it, so I try to block it from my memory. Yeah. But the first time I ever went skiing was 1999-ish, where the company I was working at the time arranged a ski trip. So part of the whole thing was they said, who's gone skiing before? And I said, I've never gone skiing. I mean, does Cedar Hill Golf Course count? No. Because I
didn't even go skiing with your like school, like
no, never
7 or anything. No.
Mm-hmm. No, the first time I ever went skiing was actually on skis going down the hill. I'm not sure what tee it is. I think it's the 10th hole. At Cedar Hill Golf Course, there's a tee right at the end of Maplewood Lane, or whatever the hell street it is. But my friend David Corey lived on that corner, and then we would walk to the end of the street and go through the little path to the golf course, and that's where the 10th hole was. So, but at wintertime, it becomes like a ski hill. So, I mean, it's not that big, obviously, but people put on inner tubes and stuff like that, and they go skiing down with toboggans and whatnot. So anyway, we went there, and I remember two things. First, he said, "Here, try on my skis. Let's try this." So I put on his boots, which were too big for me. Put the skis on, and I went down, and I didn't. Here's the thing: I didn't bail. I got to the bottom, and I was like, "Oh, that was pretty new. That was neat." So, but I took them off, and I started walking up the hill, and I remember him talking at me from sort of the side, and I was trying to get to him, but I was having trouble making my way through because I was still in the boots. I was holding onto the skis.
Mm-hmm.
So I was having a bit of issue in the snow. And I was looking at him, and he's talking at me, saying, he was saying something like, you should go again or something like that, because had been skiing quite a bit. and all I hear is "Look out!" And I look sort of up the hill just as I get fucking taken out by some people on an inner tube. And it was like in a comic, right? You know, the inner tube takes your feet out and you do this sort of airborne flip thing. So so I did that. You know, I should have been paying attention. It wasn't the inner tube people's fault, really. So but anyway, so I decided that it was time to get the hell off the ski hill. And I never put the skis on again. I went down a few times like on a toboggan. So that's kind of my experience up until 1999 when I went to Mount Washington for that one time. I will point out that I probably will never ski again because I went to Saskatchewan a number of years ago in the winter of 2012, which will be forever etched in my mind, where I went down on a toboggan, not on skis, but I was on a toboggan going down the only hill in Regina, Saskatchewan, which is conveniently called The Hill. I kid you not. It's called The Hill. It's actually got it's an actual park, but essentially what it is a hill built on top of the old dump. So underneath the hill is trash. So you know, which I didn't mind. But anyway, so I went down on this this toboggan. And I was getting a decent clip. I was actually not doing too badly. And I thought, okay, well, I should probably stop because I'm getting close to, because at the bottom of the hill were some trees, but there was a large gap in the thing where if you kept going, you could slide out onto the lake. But I thought I shouldn't really go on the lake. I don't know what the ice is doing. So, you know, it's probably frozen and probably okay. But, you know, I'm from BC. I don't know what it is for certain. So I then tried to get off, and in my process of trying to get off the ski or off the toboggan, I spun around and I started going feet first, and that was a little disconcerting. But the jacket I had borrowed, because I'm from BC, I don't have a big poofy, you know, -40 jacket or whatever. So if you put these things on, there's these pulls, these sort of elastic pulls that are kind of in the middle around the chest area, that you pull them and the jacket gets a bit tighter so it's not so bulky. And so I pulled those before I went down, or, you know, when I put the jacket on initially, but the pull had actually somehow wrapped underneath the toboggan. So the way I was trying to get off, I was actually being restricted by this tie. And so I actually did start to panic a little bit because I was going down feet first. I didn't know where I was going. I knew there were trees that I might hit. But then I felt my right foot sort of brush by something really fast, you know, like it felt like my foot just kind of went doot like that. And I thought, oh, and then my foot became really warm. And I thought, oh, that's unusual. So maybe I've sprained my ankle or something. And while I was thinking that, this small little tree about, you know, yay around went sort of zooming by, which obviously was the tree I hit, but or clipped by, if you want to, whatever you want to be. So then I got up, tried to stand up, and realized that there was something majorly wrong when I saw my foot in the snow and my leg was a little bit too far to the right. And I thought, that's unusual. That shouldn't be, you know. But again, this is it was like -30 or something like that, you know. So I wasn't too concerned because I didn't feel anything, you know. But I knew my foot wasn't quite there. So I thought, well, you know, I was thinking at the time, I probably just sprained it, you know. I clipped a tree, you know, and it's probably okay. You know, it'll hurt for a while, but it'll be fine. Then I got to the top of the hill and I put my foot down on the like the hard packed gravel of the parking lot. And that's when I knew that something a little bit more serious was going on. So so off to the hospital I went, and then you know, God, it was like 8 hours. It was the 27th. And I learned something very interesting about hospitals on the 27th of December. That is their busiest day, because people that get hurt and require medical attention On Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day, don't go to the emergency room. They wait until it becomes a problem. So people that had hurt themselves on Christmas morning. So I'm in the thing. I'm in this big chair bed thing being attended to, but I wasn't a critical case, so I was okay. They could deal with people that were far more hurt than I was. But they kept bringing these people in who were like, holding their arms, holding their legs, and whatnot. And I just was talking to these people saying, "Oh, how's it going? It sucks to be here, blah, blah, blah." But all of them had hurt themselves on those 3 previous days. And they're like, the pain just didn't go away. So I had to come here. So like there were broken arms. One woman had like stepped on her kid's new toys and fell down a flight of stairs and like stuff like this, but they don't go to the hospital. I don't know if I fell down a flight of stairs and even felt, for a moment that there was something wrong, that I would go like right then. So apparently, if you want to hurt yourselves during the entire year, hurt yourself on the 24th or 25th of December. You'll breeze through emergency. There won't be a problem. And yeah, so that's my whole skiing / going to the emergency room during the holiday story.
Or just go to the emergency when you've got a really, really serious problem and you won't have to wait. They'll just put you right in.
Well, here's the thing, right? Is that I'm there. I'm in a little bit of pain. I wasn't like dying or anything, so I was feeling like, this sucks. The guy had already come by and said, "Yeah, you broke your whatever the hell bone. So the only way to fix that is you're gonna have to get some screws."
That is actually the medical name of that bone. What?
The whatever the hell bone. I did know, 5 years ago, but I've forgotten what the hell it was. But actually, the phrase phrase they use is it is called the skier's injury, which is why it's hilarious, because apparently this is the inside of your ankle. Skiers break that bone all the time. So I sadly wasn't skiing, but what was I going to say? The what the hell bone essentially is the thing that keeps your tracking going and stuff like that. So the outside apparently is not as important according to the dudes. But anyway, so they told me I was going to have screws, but of course they can't operate for like a week because your tissues are all puffed up and stuff. So they said you have to wait till that calms down. So I'm sitting there and this dude's like, "Okay, we're gonna get your x-ray now." And I'm like, "Okay." And there's other people that are obviously really ill, with the flu or whatever the hell. And then the guy wheels me through. So I'm in the waiting room at this point. I'm in a wheelchair. I've been into the fast track emergency part, which I thought was kind of neat. But then they brought me through like the rest of the emergency room. And there's like, people who are obvious. They've either just died or they're about to die. People that look really old, and I would say 90s or something. And there's family around them. They're just crying and freaking out. And I thought, oh, that's really sad. My problem is so incredibly minor to this kind of stuff. I mean, this is the holidays and people are, are passing away here. And it's really sad. And then I remember I was looking off to the right at all of this sort of misery going, "Oh, I'm really feeling sympathetic for these people." And then I turned to my left and there was this incredibly large sort of overweight person who looked like they'd had like a raptor go at them. And I thought, holy crap. And I just sort of commented like, "Holy shit, what happened to that guy?" And he's like, "Yeah, family, they had a fight and then they got knives." And I'm just like, holy shit. Like this guy's got huge gaping holes. And the guy commented, he's like, "Yeah, he's lucky he's so fat because, otherwise there would have been like muscle involved." But it was just, he had been opened up by a family member with a knife. And I'm just like, oh my God. So, I was very humbled at that point going, if I ever think that my broken ankle is going to outweigh any of this misery going on, I'd be an asshole. Like, holy shit. I'm happy being here for 8 hours. Do your thing. Take care of these people first. Like, I am so not important compared to them, so. Anyway, overall, this, the T-Bar White Ale to try and bring the world up is actually quite good. I recommend it if you can get a hold of it.
I actually really enjoyed this.
I
Wasn't what
will
I was
tell you,
expecting,
it
but
wasn't
I
what I was
enjoyed it.
expecting, but I enjoyed it. And by the way, if you are looking for a beer, or sorry, if you're looking for any of these beers, and I'll tell you my experience from the last 2 years is that some of the BC liquor stores, I don't know if any private liquor stores are doing this, but the BC liquor stores, once it was like around it was almost New Year's, but not quite. I noticed that the people, um, the liquor stores were actually opening up the advent calendars, and they were separating the bottles and putting them in rows. You know, they weren't arranging them by date or anything, but they were just arranging them by what they had. So they were selling them individually. So if there's any of these beers that we talk about over the next, few weeks or a couple weeks, you might be lucky to go to a liquor store in this province. Anyway, I can't speak for any other province because I don't know where else they're selling this. You might score some of the stuff that we've talked about. So that's it. And I've been talking too much. Alan, get naked and take us out.
Sure.
Michelle